We're going to be doing something right now that I've been wanting to do for quite a long time, and that's actually test the HRC, the Tamahagane knives. I'm really excited about this. I've been wanting to do this for a while and just to get an idea of kind of where the blades are. I don't really know so much about them, so one detail I've always been interested in is the HRC. So we're going to test that today. So with Yamano being a modern sword maker, we're really interested to see what his HRC is at. So I finally finished the blade just yesterday. There are some parts of it that really took a lot of time to do. Really had to really focus on and really mentally plan what to do. And other areas, actually the shaping of the blade, that were actually a lot of fun, mainly because I really want to see what the hamon looks like. So it was really nice to kind of work through 200, 400 and on at Kaisei, where I am now. I've never done this type of spine on a kitchen knife before. I've done it before in the past on tanto, but never on a kitchen knife, and not at this size. Especially the area where it tapers down to the tip. It took a lot of concentration to get those two sides even and perfect and straight. The spine thickness is a lot thinner than a tanto. Some tanto are, yeah, definitely around the same thickness, but this one is really thin at the tip. So very, very different from doing a sword. The other area on this blade that really took a lot of time and actually was really, I wouldn't say challenging, but really took a lot of mental planning and focus, was doing this area here, the choil or ago area. If I kept the same angle on the choil that was at the spine, I would actually lose all of the machi area here, this little kind of shelf area. So what I had to do was cut the two angles at a slightly lower angle than the spine. And then what I needed to do was cut it at this angle and then change the angle as it went through up from here up into the heel. That took a lot of time, and that was really, I wouldn't say stressful, but there was absolutely no room to make any mistakes. I couldn't make a mistake whatsoever. It does not exist for this blade. So that played a really big role into really having to mentally plan out when I started the choil and in which stages. I did it in a few different stages till where I am now. So that part of this blade, yeah, fairly difficult to get where I wanted it to be. Right now it's perfect, it looks great, and I'm really, really happy that I actually got past that part of the blade. Currently, where I'm at with the blade is at Kaisei. I spent a lot of time on the 200 grit stone, more so than usual, just to get angles and the smoothness and consistency of the shape of the blade perfect, so that when I went from 400, 800 and Kaisei, that it was really a really smooth transition from all those stones. From 400 to 800, it was really just removing the scratches. The only real work that I really did was really just thinning out the edge to get it almost flexible on the nail. And from going from 800 to Kaisei, that was really to really smooth out the work that I did on the 800 stone, the NSK Kogyo it was. And really to prepare the blade surface to be really smooth and consistent so that I could easily move on from Kaisei to Chunagora. Currently I finished up to Kaisei, which is a stone that's commonly used for sword polishing on Tamahagane. Because we're working with Tamahagane, which is a sword material, I really wanted to follow a very, very kind of typical sword progression for this blade. And that's the reason I chose it. Also, it cuts a little shallow. It's not as deep or aggressive as the diamond stones that I usually use. And it's a stone that's in between Binsui and Chunagora. And for me, it's a really nice transition for Tamahagane, specifically to go from Kaisei to Chunagora. And in this case, I'm going synthetic Kaisei to a natural stone, natural Chunagora. And that progression is excellent for Tamahagane. Typically, I don't tend to use this stone for any other work that I do on kitchen knives or even on Honyaki kitchen knives. I really just reserve this stone for Tamahagane. Now that we finished the blade up to Kaisei, needs to be engraved. This area here needs to be engraved with Yamano's signature. And then we need to make a hole in here to be fitted. After Yamano, the blade is going to be sent to be fitted for a Shira-Saya. A Shira-Saya or wood scabbard, usually made for swords. And in this case, why we're asking a Shira-Saya maker to make this is because swords are polished up to an art level, and same with this Sujihiki. Currently in Japan, most standard sayas that I've come across anyways, I've come across a lot, will scratch or burnish a very polished surface. With Shira-Saya, each saya is made custom for the blade, and inside the saya there's certain pressure points where the blade sits, so you don't encounter any scratches. And also the way the surface is smooth within the saya, there's no scratching, no burnishing. So this is the main reason we're sending it to the Shira-Saya maker. The Shira-Saya maker that we've asked to do the saya for the Sujihiki, we've already asked him to do a sample, and it turned out really, really well. It was a little bit tricky for him at first, but actually what he came up with was really beautiful. So can't really show you that right now. It's still a prototype, but we'll be able to show you when this one's done. So now it's time to send the blade to Yamano. We're going to pack it up, ship it off, and get all the things that needs to be done to it, engraving and the saya. Then it'll be sent back to me, where then I'm going to continue on with the polishing and finish the blade off. We're going to be doing something right now that I've been wanting to do for quite a long time, and that's actually test the HRC of the Tamahagane knives that we're making with Yamano. Really excited about this. Been wanting to do this for a while, and just to get an idea of kind of where the blades are. I don't really know so much about them, so one detail I've always been interested in is the HRC. So we're going to test that today. Today we're going to be doing one 240 millimeter Gyuto, and also a smaller, I'm not sure the length, but a Honyaki Kiritsuke Gyuto, a small one. The reason I wanted to do a few is that I thought just testing on one wouldn't give me a really good idea of the range of HRC on Yamano's blade. And often when we test blades in Sakai, we're often testing many to give us a range of the performance and other details. So I have a few blades, but I can't risk the rest of them. So a little bit about the HRC and the testing we do, or I do with the blacksmith and other people we work with in Japan. The kind of the range of HRC, for example, a Swedish stainless steel that we get from Ashihamono, that's around 58 to 60 from his information. Looking at some carbon steel that we work with Tanaka in Sakai, you're looking at, say, a white one is around 64 to 65 HRC. His blue, on an extreme range, his blue super is around 66, sometimes 67, he's told us. And you can really tell the difference when you're sharpening, especially doing polishing and edge work, but really polishing you can really tell, because it takes such a long time to remove scratches from one stone to the next on certain types of steel, depending on the hardness. Of course, there's also wear resistance and many other factors, but today we're going to be testing HRC only. So the average HRC on a Japanese sword, I have done some tests before with a sword maker who's also teaches metallurgy at a university in Tokyo. The average that we saw on Tamahagane for Japanese sword was from 56 to around 59. I've never seen it go higher, and that also makes sense for what it's used for. Kitchen knives obviously are much, much thinner. Swords are much thicker, very, very different use. And from the sword maker's understanding and what he's seen and what he's tested, modern swords tend to be harder than older swords. So with Yamano being a modern sword maker, we're really interested to see what his HRC is at. This is the HRC machine we're going to be using today to test Yamano's blade. Basically how it works is you put the steel under here, then the diamond tip with the pressure of the machine makes a small hole into the steel. And then the gauge will read the HRC here. Okay, so let's give it a test. We're going to be testing this NSK Honyaki Kyoto for the HRC test. So let's test this one. Okay. That's really good. That's really good. Wow. So that's around 64, 63 in the hardened area of the Honyaki. So that's good. One more test. Okay. So it's above 60 across the blade, so that's really great. Really great to see that. Really happy for that. Wow, that's great. So these numbers are really similar to what I see in blades, in carbon steel blades from Tanaka and other Honyaki and Sakai, so that's really great to see. Yeah, this is really, really happy for that. Amazing. So we're going to try one more Honyaki, that's a Honyaki Gyuto. With this blade, because it's actually already shaped in hamaguri, it's really hard to get a stable point. So when the diamond comes down, it's moving too much, so we can't really get an accurate number. So we're going to try in the flatter area, which is the softer steel, but still just want to check it. So somewhere around this area. Oh, just... Hey. I guess that's okay for GNA. That number is 27 HRC. So it seems that's okay for soft steel. Yeah, we can't really test in that.
この辺やね、要するに。
Yeah.
この辺がフラットか。
いや。
この辺ね。この辺で一回調整してみますか。
Okay. We're going to try to get another point right here in the hardened area of the Honyaki. Right here, this point here is the hamon line coming across here. So in the middle of the hardened area here. So let's try. Okay. Right. So that seems pretty good, around 55 HRC. And that's just underneath the hamon. So that's actually good, pretty good number. And it's hard to test, really hard to test with the hamaguri, but it's pretty good. So that's pretty good to see. Across from 60, 65 to 55. It's a big range, but it's nice to see that underneath the hamon. Not sure if we can get another point, but we'll try. Oh.
そこへか、それ、
はい、
それぐらいやったらいけるから、ちょっと斜めやからな。はい、ナイキ。はい。柔らかい。
moving.
なんでこれ動くんですか？
いや、アイバンの手が動いてるから。
Yeah.
じゃあ、っていうか、ハマグリバイからちょっとした。
Yeah.
それはしゃあない。
So this last test we did near the tip, we're looking at around 58 to 60 HRC, which is also really nice to see. So that's actually great. I wish I had another blade to test, but this is great to see these numbers on these two blades. So these numbers are really general numbers, just a kind of across, just trying to get a feel of what the numbers are across all the Honyaki. I'm looking for numbers that are above 60. So 65, 58, 60 is really good to see that.
There you go.
Thank you.
So, how was the test?
Test was surprisingly great. Yeah. I had a feeling during sharpening that it was around 60 plus, but I had no idea what it could be. To see the number 65, 63, 65 was really, really great. Really happy for that.
Amazing.
Yeah, really amazing. So now the Sujihiki is sent to the saya maker, and we're just gonna wait till the saya is finished and gonna send back to us. And also Yamano has to do the engraving and then send it to the saya maker.
That's right.
And then we'll get it back and then start the final polishing stages of the Sujihiki, which will be really exciting. Can't wait to start that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. It's amazing that the HRC test was so successful, so it gives us really good feeling about his blades. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching and all the support you've given us along the way, especially during the series. It's been really great. So we'll see you next time, and thank you so much. Remember to subscribe and like. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.